Hi, I'm Erik Linask here at ComTel in Las Vegas, talking this morning with Quintin Lew, who's with Verizon's wholesale business.
Correct.
Morning, Quintin.
Morning, Erik.
Welcome. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
Uh, so, I guess two of the big trends that I'm seeing here at the show, things that people are really talking about, Ethernet and wireless backhaul.
Right.
Two things that obviously you guys are over at Verizon Wholesale
Right.
are heavily involved in as
Right.
well.
Right. Absolutely, Erik. And we see Ethernet as being our growth driver for the year in 2011. And as most companies are doing, they're trying to transition from the core TDM voice data business to more Ethernet platform, and we're no different. And what we feel is that we've taken a leadership position and driving a lot of the wireless backhaul capabilities through our fiber to cell program. And what we did announce this over 2 years ago is we announced the fact that we were going to build out fiber to cell sites and deploy Ethernet, whether it be a switched Ethernet platform or a direct point-to-point Ethernet service. But we made that service available, and we've gained a lot of traction over the last couple of years to really represent a strong growth platform for us going forward. And what we're seeing as wireless carriers are really expanding into 4G and LTE, which is kind of what they're really banking on this year. We feel like we're in a great position to support that increase in bandwidth demand. We started out, for example, with carriers who are looking for 20 meg services to cell sites. Typically what they were doing is using T1s or DS1s to support that bandwidth requirement. They were using 5 or 6 DS1s to each cell site to support that requirement. But now they are looking for a more scalable and more reliable service, and what we provide them is a Ethernet over fiber solution that starts at 20 meg and goes upwards up to 150 meg at this point. So carriers are actually increasing their bandwidth requirements as we're building it out. And so that's a great thing to see, and it's a great thing that the LTE is driving that kind of demand.
What's the attraction of Ethernet? Why is Ethernet so popular as opposed to some competing options?
Technologies?
Yeah.
Well, I would say it comes in several forms. One is the cost effectiveness. I mean, what you're doing is you're paying a lot less on a per megabyte basis than what you would traditionally purchase on a T1 or a standard TDM basis. So, for example, you can get for the price of six or so T1s to a cell site or DS1s to a cell site, you can get a 20 meg service there pretty cost effectively. So you're effectively doubling the bandwidth at effectively the same price, just by way of example. You're also looking at scalability, as I just mentioned, the fact that companies are looking to upgrade their bandwidth requirements as they're building it out. Whereas, again, we've got the initial requirements of 20 meg, but that's going up to 50 and 100 meg service. So the scalability factor and the flexibility in being able to scale is another main reason why Ethernet's so popular. And then you also have the standards. The standards are pretty much been established by the Metro Ethernet Forum, and we are a major player in setting some of those standards, and we feel that it's a reliable solution that's going to take us into the future.
What are some of the challenges that you face with on the wireless backhaul side now that Verizon and other operators are moving to 4G networks?
Well, it's keeping up with the demand, to be honest with you. I mean, we are getting much more demand than we can, ever foresee. And what we're seeing are not only the top tier carriers that are going to 4G and are interested in it, but you're also looking at the tier 2 carriers that are also interested. So where you had companies that you thought were predominantly going to be voice focused, they're now moving to the data world because that's kind of where the PDAs and the newer devices are taking them. So they're actually creating more demand for us for wireless backhaul as well. And again, it's something that we probably didn't see 2 years ago or foresee, because they were pretty much voice players and they thought that was the world that they were going to play in. And now we're seeing this migration happen right before our very eyes.
Well, there's no question just the proliferation of smartphones and tablets,
Right.
Thanks to Apple. Everybody's looking at data services right now. And if you're not, I think if you're playing in voice only,
Right.
you're going to be in trouble.
I agree with that. So, with the proliferation of video being streamed over the internet there, it makes natural sense that people are going to demand that same content that they get at home and from the computer experience at home to something that's mobile. So your devices, your tablets, your PDAs are all going to be enabled to show full length movies in HD quality, and that's really what's driving a lot of this demand is the quality of service as supported by a lot of the new devices that are coming out, as you just mentioned. So it's really an ecosystem that's being really developing, over the last 2 years now with the devices, consumption, and the network ability to support it all. It's really something amazing to see.
Is there a danger of demand overtaking capacity, or is that something on the backhaul side that the industry is able to keep up with?
Right. That's a very good question. I mean, there are a lot of models out there that are probably capable of supporting the current demand, but if you kind of look at this demand 5 years out and you look at the possibilities with over-the-top, delivery of content, even to the home, you're looking at a proliferation of capacity that you're going to need. We are investing in 100 gig wave systems, so we are increasing the backbone dramatically to support what we believe the demand to be, but it's always the unknown or the unforeseen developments that that really can throw a wrinkle into the planning process. So right now we think we are bulletproofing the network, but there's always something new down the line that's going to change that.
Well, that's absolutely true. And that's the one great thing about this industry is you never know what's around the corner.
Absolutely.
Quintin, thanks so much for joining me. We're talking here with Quintin Lew from Verizon Wholesale at CommTel in Las Vegas.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Erik. Appreciate it.